We are very thrilled to have that Stephen Frears, filmmaker, returns to Toronto with this film. Today he brings us a heartbreaking tale of one woman's search for the infant she was forced to give up for adoption by a religious system that failed her and many others over the years in question. Steve Coogan wears many hats with this project, not the least of which is co-scenarist with Jeff Pope and sympathetic lead, endeavoring to help Judi Dench, who's nothing but brilliant in her role as the bereft mother. This film was just in Venice recently and took Venice by storm. Steve Coogan and Jeff Pope won the Best Screenplay Award for the film. They did an amazing job. I will warn you, or a suggestion actually, to please, you should probably take your tissues out now because you're going to have to wait. I've screened it twice already, and to tremendous audiences. Ladies and gentlemen, you're very fortunate to be seeing today Philomena.
Hey guys, okay, this is going to be my review of Philomena as soon as I can find a kind of quiet spot to do it. Right outside the Eaton Centre here, which is like main hub of downtown Toronto. Huge mall here. And City Hall's right across the street. So there is City Hall. That's old City Hall. New City Hall is the one with the two curvy buildings, which I don't have a vantage point of here. But I just wanted to show you guys. Okay, so let me scout around and try to find a kind of private spot if possible. Hang on. Okay, I think this is about as private as I'm going to get here. So, okay, anyway. Philomena, directed by Stephen Frears, starring Judi Dench as Philomena, and I believe the main actor in the movie was a guy named Steve Coogan. I'm going to have to check it and make sure of that, and if I'm correct, I will post all that in my info below anyway. But, oh wow, this was such a good movie. It's a true story based on the story about this woman, Philomena, who got pregnant in her teens in 1950s Ireland. So you can imagine all these girls who were pregnant as teenagers were, I think, sent to these convents or abbeys or whatever. And she was one of them. They had their babies there in the convent. They gave birth to them there. And then they were the kids were sort of raised there in this like daycare, you know, whatever. Like they were in an adjoining facility to this convent, and the mothers were allowed to visit with them, I think, once a week. And she had a boy. She had a boy named Anthony. God, I hope I'm going to be able to keep this together because I get emotional. As I told you before about these kinds of movies, I'm the kind of person who, like, you know, falls at movies. But anyway. So she had this baby boy. He was raised there at this convent for 2 years, and then him and this other girl, who was the daughter of a friend of hers in the convent, they were like inseparable. They really, really loved each other, and they kept playing together all the time. And what this convent did was they basically sold babies to rich Americans for adoption. And so that's what happened. These Americans came over. They wanted the girl, but because he was so attached to her, they took him as well, and so they raised them both together. This she found out afterwards. This guy, Steve Coogan, played this like investigative journalist, and he was so funny. He was friggin' hilarious. See, one thing I really love about Stephen Frears' movies is he is like a master at blending like really, really heartfelt drama and light comedy. Because, I mean, there were so many moments, and I mean, it's a horrible, tragic story. I mean, this poor woman, this poor girl, you know, because of the time she was born in, you know, gets, you know, labeled a fallen woman, you know, like a falling prey to her, you know, desires. And, you know, I mean, it's a Catholic country, and, you know, I mean, girls were, you know, they were stigmatized for, you know, getting pregnant out of wedlock, and she was just one of many. And where was I going with this? I had a point. I forget what I was. Okay, well, anyway, I was talking about how I really love how Stephen Frears blends the really heartfelt drama with light comedic moments, and I mean, again, he proves he's the master at this. Another film of his that I really loved was The Queen. With Helen Mirren playing the Queen around the time that Princess Diana was killed, and that whole the whole kerfuffle over that. People criticizing her for not being emotional enough and not speaking about it early enough and all that stuff. That was such a great movie, so funny, and again, it was a blend of the tragic and just the hilarious, that typical English sarcastic dry humor that I love so much. And so anyway, this movie was no exception, very much in the same vein. Very sad story, but it chronicles, she meets this journalist through her grown daughter. She has a grown daughter, and who enlists this journalist to try and help her find her son, who she's never ever forgotten about her whole life. She was freaked out and traumatized when she saw them taking him away when he was a baby in this car. She's banging on the window and calling his name and crying her eyes out, and she never forgot about him. She always thought about him all these years, and so she wanted to try to track him down. And like I said, this was a true story. So anyway, this journalist, they end up going to Washington because they find out that these babies were taken and sold to these rich Americans, or adopted out to these rich Americans. So through trial and error, they managed to find out that he worked as in the Republican Party for Reagan and Bush. He was a real higher up. He was like a legal counsel or something to them, and he was also gay, and he had this. He died of AIDS. Yeah. So and you find out that he died in 1995. So here she is. She's looking for him. She's desperate to find him, and then he finds out online. He manages to find out. He finds this obituary for him, and oh my God. So anyway, after she finds out that he died, they try to track down his ex-partner, who at first doesn't want to talk to them, doesn't want to have anything to do with them, for I don't know why, because this guy was living as openly gay, I think, anyway. But anyway, he finally relents and allows them into his house, and then he shows them I guess the memorial video that was shown at his funeral. And it turns out, get this, talk about irony, she was looking for him all these years, and it turns out that he was actually buried in Ireland at that very abbey convent that he was born in, because he said when he was dying, his dying wish was to be buried at home. Christ. And so anyway, at the end they go back to this convent and they confront the sisters, who all this time they were trying to get information from these nuns, and the nuns kept saying, oh, we don't, we lost all the records, they were destroyed in a fire, we have no idea where he is, and all this stuff. And all the time they knew all this stuff, they just didn't want a big mess. And but this woman, Philomena, talk about a remarkable woman. I mean, even through all this shit that happened to her, she never blamed them, she never held a grudge, she never really got angry. She just said, they did the best they could. They gave him a better life than I could. They didn't know this and that because his name had been changed. And so she was really, really forgiving and just such a sweet woman. And the journalist, Steve Coogan, he was the one who was getting all pissed off and angry and freaking out and, trying to get answers from these people. And so yeah, it was a really, really, really good movie. Real tearjerker, of course. And Judi Dench, what can you say about Judi Dench? She's amazing. She's a fucking wonderful, magnificent actress. And the guy, Steve Coogan, who I believe is the guy, he was great as well. And I believe he also co-wrote and produced it, so he really played a big role in this movie. Not only as one of the main actors, but in that role as well. What else did I want to say? Anything else? I'm trying to think. I just got out of there, and my mind's all still reeling at this movie, because it was so, oh my God. And the shots of Ireland, holy crap, so beautiful there. It's incredible. She lived in England, but they went back to Ireland because that's where she had, I guess, originally lived and given birth and lived in this convent. It was called Roscrea Abbey or something like that. I'm not sure where in Ireland that is, but oh my God, it was beautiful. All these hills and green, and oh, it's beautiful. And what else? Let me think. Unfortunately, Stephen Frears, Judi Dench were not there at the screening. It's the first screening I've been to when nobody involved with the film has been there, but it's already been screened a couple of times, so I guess they've probably already been there to introduce it and all that, and then already left. So that's probably the reason for that. Boy, what else? I know there was one other point I wanted to make about this movie. What was it? Hang on, I'll see if I can remember. Oh yeah, okay. The other thing I wanted to say that was so like charming, typical Stephen Frears charming about this movie, was that this woman, Philomena, she was like this really like, you know, old school, you know, lady, Catholic lady, you know, born and raised in Ireland, and never really like been anywhere, never really been out of her element. So when they go to like the States and everything, and she's staying in these hotels, she's the type of person who's like, oh my God, they have like, you know, chocolate on the pillows, and they have like, you know, breakfast buffets and stuff like that, and she gets so excited about this like stuff. It was just so sweet and charming and so true to life. You know, I've seen people like that who are like, oh my God, you know, they go to a big city and they're all like, oh wow, you know, like they're just overwhelmed, and you know, they're not sophisticated, but they're so like, you know, their hearts are like just so big, and they're just such real genuine people, and you just love them, you know. But anyway, so I guess that's all I can say right now about Philomena. Highly, highly recommend it. It's a big name movie, big director, so it will be coming out. So I highly recommend it. If you like, you know, this type of movie, real human drama, and especially it's got the light comedy. So it's not like it's all like, you know, like really depressing. You know, it's really uplifting and sweet, and you know, it'll make you feel good. So yeah, go see it. You know, go see it. It's really good. Okay, I'm seeing another movie today, this afternoon, called The Disappearance of Eleanor Rigby. It's a long movie. It's like 3 hours, I believe. Jessica Chastain is in it, the lovely Jessica Chastain. And it's about, yikes, there's a wasp on my hand. Anyway, it's about this couple who, there's some kind of tragedy happens, and she leaves or something, and the husband tries to track her down or find her or whatever. She reinvents herself or something. So it sounds very interesting. Another pretty heartfelt movie. So anyway, I will get back to you with a review on that. Hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you soon. Okay, bye guys.